I don't know whether I'm proud or embarrassed by this project. So, let's rewind back to 2016. Girl has a new sewing machine. She's making a few costumes here or there, just starting to dip a toe, just starting to try a little bit of garment sewing, and she gets the idea that she's going to make a swimsuit. I have never worked with stretch fabrics. That's not entirely true. I have worked with stretch fabrics. I made a stretch skirt for a costume, where the only point of fit was the waistband, and everything else was just straight. Maybe that gave me the confidence to, dive headfirst into, I'm gonna make a whole swimsuit, especially since I just bought a serger. I have a serger now. Sergers make sewing easier, right? Sure. No, I still don't really know how to use my serger. I will say this, I was bold, and I tried it, and the bottoms came out great. I was so excited about this project that I thought, hey, you know what? This would be a perfect chance to start filming videos. Back then, I wanted to film videos for YouTube. But the project just did not work out. It wouldn't fit, it didn't have any structure or any boning, it was floppy, there is just so much wrong with it. So I threw out the project, I tossed it into a box, I stopped filming sewing project, and I just never revisited it. Cut to 2020, I'm cleaning out my sewing supplies, and I find the project again, and I think, I can fix this. And I do. I actually spent an afternoon just kind of moving stuff around, fiddling with straps, fiddling with boning, and I fixed it. I did not film it because I hadn't had the idea to really start on the YouTube thing again. So this video is kind of a big mixture. It's got a mixture of the old footage from 2016 when I first started sewing it, and then me basically playing catch up. Let's go first to when I made the swimsuit, and then I'll tell you where I went wrong. This pattern technically has two different pieces, one for a high waist and one for a low waist. So I used the difference between the high and low waist of the pattern to make the pattern pieces for the gold band. I then used the high waist pieces for the lining fabric, and then the low waist pieces for the blue fabric. Construction was fairly simple. I used a narrow zigzag stitch to sew all the pieces together. I sewed the gold band onto the blue pieces. After that, I sewed front and back. In between all these steps, I was using my serger to finish off the edges. I used this wide zigzag stitch to base the inside and outside together, and then I pinned some elastic to the waistband. I went along and stitched it to the waistband using the serger, and then went back, flipped it over, and did another zigzag stitch around the entire edge. So in the end, the bottoms turned out really cute. I actually really like them. I honestly don't have any complaints about the bottoms. Okay, well, maybe I do. The crotch area is a little warped, and I didn't really know what I was doing in terms of how to feed in the material so that it wouldn't get all bunched up and raggedy. But it fits. It's comfy. I would wear this to the swimming pool with probably a different top. For the top, I used this red swimsuit material, and I lined it with this, I want to call it neoprene, but I'm not 100% sure if it's neoprene. It's some fabric I got out of the bargain bin. But I lined the entire swimsuit with it. When I made the cups, I used the lining, the neoprene, and the outer fabric. I then attached the cups to the front piece that was already underlined, and then I went back and understitched along the cups to give it the look of having an underwire. This was the point where I thought this would be my workaround of not actually having underwire. It would be to make it look like it had underwire. Oh, I don't need underwire because when I wear bras, underwire is just that uncomfortable bit that starts to poke after a while. So let me just ignore the underwire completely. I then attached the lining fabric for the band by basting it along the outside edges and then hand stitching it on the inside. I got some red elastic. I attached that to the bottom edge of the top. For the cups, I finished off the top edge with the serger, and then I hand stitched some stretch sequins along the top. The ties were two long pieces of fabric stitched together, and then I got some clear elastic that I attached to the sides. I would stretch the elastic as I stitched, and that would make the elastic bunch up on itself to give it more springiness. I then decided to make a second pair of straps because I realized that the red straps I had cut out were not wide enough for the entire side panel. Now, maybe I should have measured and cut out a bigger piece of red fabric, but this is my workaround. Just cut out a second piece of gold fabric. I did sew a casing for some boning. I used industrial strength zip ties, which is what I use for boning in all of my projects. One day I will graduate to using spiral steel boning, but for now, this is affordable and it works a lot better than the featherlight boning that you can get at the fabric store. After getting this much of the top done, I thought, okay, so it should fit now, right? And then I tried it on, and then it didn't fit. Or rather, it fit, but nothing would stay where I wanted to. Like, I would hold it in front of me and be like, well, I can tie it in the back, but now the top is flopping down, and none of this feels comfortable, and now I'm frustrated. This was the point where I gave up. I decided this just wasn't worth the headache. I actually have a post on Instagram showing how I declared it a unsalvageable project. Like, it was done for. It was stupid. It was the end. So here's the top. And this is the top after I've altered it. So originally, I had 2 sets of straps. I had this red strap, and then I had the gold strap right next to it to make up for the difference, and I'll just tie it in my back twice. Yeah, I don't know why I thought that was a good idea. Again, this is me making up stuff as I go. Another problem I had was the bra itself had no support. Now, right now, it looks like it has a lot of support because I've added support to it, but imagine this, just all fabric, just limp. The only support was from the 2 boning casings on the side, but that wasn't enough to keep it from flopping over. I took the strap from the side, I attached the strap to the end of the cup here, and then I crossed it over to the opposing bra cup and then attached it in the middle. That way, the bra cups wouldn't flop forwards, and they also wouldn't gape open at the sides. And then the other fix, which I think is the most important fix, is I added underwire. I found an old bra at the thrift store. I unpicked the casing, underwire and all, and I hand stitched it to the inside. It needed the underwire structure so that it could actually hold its shape while it's dealing with all the tension from being pulled to the back and tied in the back. The other thing that I added, this U-shaped wire here. I can't remember where I got it from, but yeah, it's basically a U-shaped wire with casing, and I stitched it on the front as well because the underwire wasn't long enough to go from the underarm all the way to the center front. I just stitched on my Wonder Woman patch, and then that was it. That's how I fixed it. I went from not knowing what I was doing 4 years ago, just kind of diving headfirst into this swimsuit making business, to I know enough now to know, hey, certain tension, certain support, certain things are needed in certain parts of garments for them to work. And I think that's honestly because I've done so much more sewing since then. There's no way I could make a corset with that much tension without the boning, because the boning helps the fabric keep its shape while it's being pulled. And I didn't realize that when I made this. I made this without any structure, just assuming it would keep its shape. Something else that I've learned, I am a big girl. I have been blessed in the chest. And I can't just take a sewing pattern that is meant for someone with a smaller bust and just assume it'll work for me because I match the measurements. The big 4 companies, Simplicity, McCall's, Butterick, and Vogue, most of their sewing patterns are drafted for a B cup. So I've since learned that I have to do a full bust adjustment. I'm good at those now. Back then, I was hard-headed. I was like, no, I don't need to do adjustments. I'll just follow the measurements and it'll turn out right. No, that's not how it works, Vanessa. I need more structure. I need more support. I've got a lot up here and I need a lot more support to hold it all in. So I could have just had the swimsuit itself and nothing else, but then I thought, I have to make the whole thing. It's pretty much a cosplay now. So from the gold scraps, I made some gauntlets with a trailing end that wraps around my arm. I had a similar costume piece in Belly Dance made for me, so I was like, let me try and make one of my own. And then for the boots, because I definitely did not have enough material to make a boot cover, I made garters with just red elastic and then wrapped that around my leg. This was definitely, an hour's worth of work? Oh, and I still had this rope from when I first made the project. lasso of truth, ready to go. I hope you enjoyed this video. I really wanted to post it because here I am, someone who thought I can't make this swimsuit work. I don't know what I'm doing. And I've transitioned into someone who finally figured out how to make it work. I did not wear the swimsuit top on its own. I don't have that much confidence in my sewing skills. I wore Curvy Kate Luxe strapless bra. I actually love this bra. It's so good. I knew, if anything else, I had support and I was not going anywhere. The swimsuit top, it works as a costume. I don't think I would go swimming in it. The bottoms came out cute. So, I finally finished the swimsuit. I'm so proud of this. I'm also really embarrassed by the amount of shortcuts I took and the long, arduous journey that this thing has been on. But you know what? Share your failures, share your successes, and share your struggles along the way. Because out there somewhere might be someone thinking, I can't sew for me because of this, because of that. There is a way. Do your research. Do your research, and don't give up. Maybe do a couple test fits. Don't be like me. Share your failures, share, I can't talk racist. I have a thing about throwing out fabric scraps. Unless they are like literally minuscule, I won't throw out fabric scraps. I actually have a whole tub of fabric scraps in the basement. Don't tell nobody. It is the Curvy Kate. This is almost as good as going braless. You can't even see it. It's round. It matches me. It matches my skin tone.